So I've been trading for about almost 10 years now. My first trading experience, though, was not in futures and it was not in prop firms. So that is only the last probably 4 years that I've been doing that. However, in the last 4 years, I have tried just about every prop firm that there is, new ones that pop up, old ones that have been around for a long time. I've blown plenty of accounts. You know, when you're first starting and you're just figuring things out, you have no real strategy. You're just almost guessing, trying different things, way oversized. I can't even tell you how many, probably thousands of dollars I spent on prop firm accounts. However, I would gladly take that over my starting days in the stock market and using my own capital, because I blew through a lot of money that I could have learned all of those mistakes in prop firms and saved a ton of money. And so I'm thankful for prop firms, but I've been around for a little while, right? Tried different firms, I've blown accounts, I've chased after the cheapest deals, you know, places like Apex, who are constantly running some kind of 80 or 90% off sale. And I won't say there's anything wrong with that. I'll tell you up front, I am not a fan of Apex. If you find some older videos of mine on this channel and another channel that I used to have, you probably would see Apex affiliate banners on there and stuff. And I used to be a fan of Apex, but they've got a ton of rules, you know, and they've got a ton of hidden just mess and all the stuff they've gone through with denying payouts. And granted, I had never had a denied payout with Apex, but there's just a lot there that I kind of stepped back and I started looking for other firms and, you know, tried a bunch of different ones. And I have landed on Topstep. And I know that that is a sore subject with a lot of people. If you've tried Topstep before, Topstep has been around for a while. And they've gone through growing pains, and they're still going through growing pains. But I have found that I personally trade the best with Topstep. And that is the most important thing that I think you should take away from this video, is not which prop firm is the best, because there's no such thing. It is 100% dependent on you and your trading style and how you are able to set yourself up to be successful. And I think a prop firm does have a place to play in that. And so I wanted to go through some of the reasons why I choose Topstep over all the others. And again, it's not really bashing the other places, because I've had success and I've had failure at all the others, but I have not had as much success as I've had with Topstep, and there's a couple of reasons why. So I think the biggest one is the simplicity of rules, okay? As I mentioned, Apex has a ton of rules, and with them you can look through, you know, FAQ and support pages for days, and it's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of all the different gotchas and rules. And it's just so much to keep up with, especially when you're brand new. It's too much to think about, I think, in the middle of a trade. Are you, you know, letting this go against you too much? Are you, you know, I don't know, just, you know, intraday trailing drawdown is a beatdown, and I wish it would not be a thing with any of the firms. But rules are just ridiculous with some of these other prop firms. And when you go from one to another, you got to learn all the rules. And I've blown plenty of accounts not realizing I was breaking a rule and had to go do a bunch of research. And of course, that's on me, right? Should have looked beforehand, but it shouldn't be that complicated. And I feel like Topstep makes it not complicated. Now, yes, they do have a couple of hidden rules. You know, they do claim that it's one rule, you know, don't hit your daily max loss limit. And that is primarily true. However, there is a scaling plan. But what I do like about their scaling plan is at least the platform itself limits you So if you were just brand new and hopped into a Topstep account and hit go and you started trading, you wouldn't really know. You couldn't blow your account because of the scaling plan. Let's start there. You can't blow your account, and you couldn't get yourself to where you're not going to get payouts because their platform is not going to let you trade more contracts or lots than you are allotted to do so. And so then you don't really have to worry about the scaling plan. It's there, and it can be play in your benefit if you know about it and you get to a place where you can trade more contracts. However, all that said, I very rarely use anywhere near the max contracts allowed because I primarily trade, gold or silver, and both of those can be just crazy volatile where one micro sometimes is too much. Like there's too much risk on the table. So I very, 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 very rarely, almost never have to even worry about the scaling plan. So with that out of the way, it just really leaves it down to one rule. Don't hit your max loss limit, and that's it. And that's perfect for me. Now, it might not be perfect for you. If you're brand new, sometimes I understand having some more guardrails is beneficial. And we'll get into how I think Topstep also fixes that a little bit later. I already mentioned this, but the other thing that makes Topstep superior in my mind, and they're not the only one, and I get this, is they do daily drawdown instead of intraday trailing drawdown. So it's still trailing drawdown, but it is after the day closes and not in the middle of a trade. So if you're unfamiliar, intraday trailing drawdown is the absolute worst. Apex uses it. Take Profit Trader uses it in your funded account, not in your test. And so that's another thing. I really liked them, but I don't like that aspect of it, that it's kind of a bait and switch. I mean, they tell you about it, so it's not, but you can pass a test pretty easily because it's daily drawdown and you can trade normal. And then you get into a funded account and it's very easy to blow it because you have to worry about intraday trailing drawdown, which is if your unrealized profit goes up, so does the trailing drawdown behind it until you reach your starting balance, until the trailing drawdown hits where your starting balance was. So on a 25K account, if you go $500 in the positive in the middle of a trade, and then your profit comes all the way back down to break even, you essentially lost $500 without ever being in the red. And I think that's dumb. And I think that's unfair because it doesn't work that way in real life if you were trading your own money. And so I don't think it sets you up for good practice of being able to go trade your own account. The third thing, the biggest thing to me, is the platform. Topstep X, and again, hot topic here because other platforms did have access to Project X, which is essentially the same platform, and they built some pretty cool stuff, and everybody was all excited about it and all for it and behind it, but it is basically not owned by, but they have a contract essentially with Topstep at this point where they are exclusive partners and nobody else can use the platform. And I know that stinks for other places, and I know everybody hates on Topstep, but it's a good platform. It is a very good platform. It's extremely easy to use. It's easy to set risk. They've got, as I mentioned earlier, if you are a new trader and you need some boundaries, they have amazing risk tools, I guess you could call them, where you can lock yourself out after both losing a certain dollar amount or winning a certain dollar amount. Because early on in your trading, believe it or not, that is the biggest problem, is over trading. A lot of times you may be up $1,000 or whatever, the dollar amount doesn't matter. You may be up a lot and you cannot get yourself to walk away from the computer, and you feel like you just have to trade because the market is still there and it's still going and there's an opportunity to make more. The problem with that is you overtrade, you get into stupid trades, you don't end up taking actual setups, and you're just trading, and you will lose all of that money and some, and a lot of times blow accounts when you are up a ton of money. And I've done it. I would venture out there to say every single prop firm trader, no matter if they say they haven't, they have. Because it's just a part of growing into a trader, especially in the prop firm space, to have some self-discipline there, self-control, some discipline. And I think Topstep helps you with that, because I can say, hey, after I reach $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever dollar amount you want, lock me out until the next session so that I cannot trade anymore. I'm pretty much guaranteeing myself that profit, and so that I can move on. And that is what allowed me to become profitable, and didn't realize it was the two things, right? Let's say it's all three things. It was easy rules, okay? All I have to worry about is not blowing the account, okay? Great. Intraday versus daily drawdown. They use daily, and now I don't have to worry about where am I at in the middle of a trade. I can let a trade play out how I think it's going to, and give it the opportunity to come back and take me out at break even, where I can't do that on other platforms. And then 3, the platform itself, very easy to use, very easy to set risk, very easy to set take profits, very easy to move things around, very easy to lock yourself out and guarantee profits. And a combination of those 3 things allowed me to discipline myself with tools and become a profitable trader. Because it wasn't until I started locking myself out, trading on Topstep, that I started being able to take payouts regularly. And that has changed the game for me. And I think it will change the game for you if you'll give it a shot. Ignore all the noise out there about Topstep, because yes, they do have problems every once in a while. Randomly, their platform might go down and they'll let you know, hey, we're working on it. It's going to be up running soon. And it normally does. I've never had major issues. There's been inconveniences, but they don't outweigh how good of a platform and setup they give you for a not only just new trader, but even traders that have been around for a long time, to set yourself up for success. So I'm not affiliated with them. I don't make a penny for suggesting them, but if you are a new trader and you're checking out different prop firms, I would highly recommend that you go give Topstep a try, because they are going to set you up for success. We'll see you on the next one.